3. Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. Oh, I am Scott, and you, my dear little chickenheads, have wandered onto the #1 prog rock channel on all of YouTube. Yeah, it's the Prog Corner, and your little eyes do not deceive you, boys and girls. Oh, no, they do not. I have the one, the only, the myth, the legend, my favorite modern prog rocker, and it's not even close. It's Neal Morse, boys and girls. Neal, how are you doing this afternoon?
Oh, I'm really good, man. What an intro. Wow.
Yeah. Welcome to the Prog Corner. We treat everybody with the red carpet, but especially when, I've got my all-time favorite. Road Called Home. And we've got some exciting stuff to talk about today. It's been a while since we've had a pure prog rock release from Neal. Quietly, 2024 has turned into a pretty busy year for you because you put out Late Bloomers already. And then before that, it was Joseph Part 2, The Restoration. And now we get one of the best things I've heard all year. It's called No Hill for a Climber. It comes out on Inside Out Music, November 8th. And it's a brand new band. Neal, you want to tell the people what's going on with this album and these collection of musicians you've got for this thing?
Yeah, well, if you wait a couple hours, they're all coming over tonight. We're gonna have a little listening party.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, when I was looking out at 2024 from 2023, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing prog wise. You're right. I had Late Bloomer going on. I knew Joseph was coming out, but what was I going to be creating? Because I kind of live to create, and so I was talking about it with my wife, and she suggested, well, what about doing something with all these really talented local guys that we know? Over time, there's just come to be this group of younger musicians that we are friends with and we play music with, sometimes at church, sometimes other places. Philip Martin, if you ever come to Morsefest, you're going to know Philip Martin and his brother Nathan, who helped to engineer the album. So we've known Philip a long time. Chris Riley is a guy I actually first met at Morsefest, I think 2015. And he's a young guy, and he came to the Radiant School.
Oh, wow.
A bunch he came almost every year. And his material was great to begin with, and it was just getting better and better and better. And it was.
Didn't he somehow end up on that Joseph Part 2 also, Chris Riley?
Yeah.
The soundscapes or something.
Something that I noticed, like with his music, as I was listening to it and getting more and more exposed to it at the Radiant School, was how good he was with soundscapes.
Yeah.
And like, I know my weaknesses, and sometimes I'll want a really cool soundscape. Kind of like Roy Nastolt does. He does really good ones. At the very beginning of The Whirlwind is one example.
Oh, yeah.
So I asked Chris if he would come help me. And so he came over, and we had the best time creating the soundscapes for the Joseph albums.
Yeah.
And that was a very totally collaborative thing that we did. And anyway, so I thought, well, definitely Chris, because there were sections of his demos that I just were really already in love with, that I was so glad he let us clip some of those things out and put it in this album. And then Andre Vidadian is a really great guitar player.
Yeah.
That we've all known for quite some time, and just a great spirited guy. You've seen him in some of my videos, like sometimes when it was like all me basically, but I needed to have a band in a video, I'd get those guys. And Andre also played on Joseph Part 1.
Did he?
Yeah, he did a solo on that.
Oh, okay. And then we get to the singer, this guy, Johnny Bisaha. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, that's how you say it. Yeah.
I love the way you and Eric Gillette's voices, and Bill too, obviously, but about there's a special magic when you and Eric Gillette kind of sing together at the same time. I was getting a little bit of those feels with you and Johnny, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was really a miraculous thing. When I'm working on these projects, of course, being a God guy, I'll be feeling it. You know, I'll be feeling like God's in something. But then a lot of times as the project goes, sometimes things will happen that affirm that. And the way Johnny came in, he came in, I met him like 2 weeks before we had to deliver the album, and he couldn't get over here to record for about 5 days after that. So, I mean, it was at the very final moments. We were just introduced by a friend of a friend in text, and he came over, and I really liked him, and he sang some high notes, and I'm like, well, yeah, sounds great. Here's the demos.
Yeah, I read somewhere that you told him, here you go, buddy boy. Can you sing a B above middle C? And my question to you was, what did you make him really sing the B, or did you make him sing the Neal Morse B, which, as every Neal Morse fan knows, is a B flat?
I think it's an actual B. I think it is an actual B. I'll have to check on that, though. But B flat's good enough, brother.
I could never do B flat. Not even in my prime, I could never do B flat. So it sounds amazing. I was talking to you a little bit before we went on, and I was a little skeptical. You know, I am so used to having Nick or Mike behind the kit. I was wondering if this new band, which we're calling what, the Restoration? No, the Resonance, right?
The Resonance.
Neal Morse and the Resonance. Okay, let's get that right.
Yes, resonate.
It resonates with me. But, you know, these songs are actually kind of like a greatest hits of Neal Morse. I hear little bits of every era of your songwriting, but I'm also hearing some outside information. Is that Chris Riley? Is that some of the other new guys? Because it almost feels like there's a lot of new ideas and new blood on this album.
Yeah, I think so. You know, it was them. It was either their ideas, or, you know, sometimes just having a new project with a different kind of energy.
Yeah,
about it. You know, it brought forth different stuff out of me too. You know, because you're thinking about, like, if I'm thinking about writing for Casey McPherson in Flying Colors, for instance, I'll write probably a little differently than I would for the Neal Morse band, you know, because I'm thinking about Casey and what would feel good in his voice. And it was a little bit like that, like, what's going to feel good for this group to play. And I'm just so thrilled with the kind of freshness that the album has. And,
I was worried it'd be a little retready. I mean, honestly, you look at the track listing, right? It starts with an epic, it ends with the mega epic, and then you got 3 shorter tracks in between. I'm thinking, this just sounds almost like Prog by rote. But as soon as we get into the very first part of Eternity in Your Eyes and that really cool orchestration that we've got going on, all my fears were laid to rest, man. This album is dynamite. I'm a prog guy, so I'm always going to gravitate to the longer tracks. But talk to me a little bit about Thief. What a cool song, man. I did not expect that track at all, not even a little bit. Sounds like we're in some like smoky, bluesy bar or something. It's just wild. It's a wild trip. Tell me how that song came about.
Yeah, it's a wild trip. Well, I dreamed that. I woke up from an afternoon nap, and I remember telling my grandson, Maddox, who likes funny music, like, that's kind of how I connect with him. One of the ways I connect with him is, you know, he likes Weird Al and stuff like that. So I'll find some really funny song and play it for him. Anyway, so I woke up and I said, Maddox, I've got this idea that I woke up with. Thief. You know, and so I woke up with that idea, and then it went through a lot of different phases. Excuse me, just like the song does.
Yeah,
you know. So I had that idea for that part, and I originally wrote it with just a real sort of normal swing groove, and it was actually Joe Gonzelli that put that kind of hip hop groove in there, which I think just really makes that part really pop and be and be really different. That would be one of those elements probably that you're like, oh wow, I haven't heard it like that. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And you know, 3 cheers for the false ending. Come on, man. That is so much fun. I just spoiled it for people, but it's just a really great song. And you think it's over, and then it comes right back with the Thief part. It's so great. I love it.
on that. I worked on that middle part with Chris Riley. That was his motif, that da 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 thing with the climbing bass.
Yeah.
He wrote that part. And then, you know, I knew we wanted to peak it out, and then I knew I wanted to stop and then go thief again. But I wasn't sure what to do. And then I had the idea when I was working on it by myself to have everybody just kind of just freak out in the room. Just do whatever, just go nuts, and we'll all stop at once. You know, just like, I think live it'll be really interesting because I think it'll be different every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way you could learn that.
Right? Nah, it's a freak out.
It's like a free for all that all stops at once.
Yeah.
You know, but
and then hopefully comes back at once. But
yeah,
that'll be a lot of fun. You know, you're talking already about possibly playing these songs live.
Well, we haven't really talked about it. We've all actually been really, really busy.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I think we're just kind of waiting for the smoke to clear. I've got this other album that I started with Chester Thompson that's in the finishing stages. And then I've got 3 Morsefests to do. And so that's where I'm at. I know that everybody else is really busy too. So maybe after the smoke clears, we'll stick our heads out of our bubbles.
Yeah, see what happens thereafter. But, you know, I think the response is going to be really good for this album.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I really, really do. And one thing I appreciate about it is I don't know if it was like something you had actually thought about going into it, or if it's just something that flowed naturally, but I'm feeling a little more of an overt message here. I know the title came from what was the name of that book by Barbara Kingsolver, Demon Copperhead, but it just feels like the positive, uplifting message of hope and love and our Savior Jesus Christ is all over this. And sometimes your messaging has been a little bit more subtle or vague. It feels like you're letting it all hang out here, and I appreciate it.
Excuse me.
Was that something you planned going in ahead of time, just to make this maybe a little bit more overt in spirit and in terms of your spirituality and you know, your writing?
No, not really. It just unfolded that way. You know, with every album and every piece of music, I'm always praying and, you know, asking the Lord, like, what do you want me to say? How do you want this to be? You know, I'm in partnership, right? We're in partnership with the Lord, and so I don't really know. You know, I just take it one step at a time. But I'm really glad that you feel that shines through on it. Yeah,
it does. I love it. And, you know, one of the other things that I wanted to talk to you real briefly, because you know what? My good friend Brent Bristow would probably be a little bit upset if I didn't name drop him during here. But thank you, Neal, for helping be an inspiration for the Emerald City Council and their, you know, their development. What an amazing group of people. And they're always real quick to point to you. And I know Brent was part of that masterclass that you have going on. Tell me a little bit about the how to write a prog album. Kind of appropriate, given that you were right in the midst of writing a prog album of your own, right?
Oh,
yeah, with a bunch of new guys.
Yeah, I told everybody, you know, in the masterclass that, hey, by the way, I'm not just teaching this; I'm living it every day.
Yeah, you were right for the first time in a while, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it was great. And Brent was awesome. He came to there's 2 different things. The video master class is something that we did over the summer, and that's something that you can buy and watch wherever you are. That it hasn't been released yet like that, but it will be. But the thing that Brent came to is where people come actually to my home studio, and it's one-on-one, hands-on stuff with me and an engineer. And it's great. It's all good. And it's been really good to meet people like that, you know, like Brent and others. So it's
and we're hearing about, you know, certain artists and you know, songwriters and musicians who are actually getting out there that spend a little bit of time with you, you know, learning from you. So that's got to be pretty nice too, right?
Oh, well, yeah, it's great. The whole point of it is to be helping people to have their creativity come to fruition. And so when you see that happening, it's amazing.
Now, tell me a little bit about what resonated so deeply with you when you were reading that book and you came across that line, "No hill for a climber." I saw your video that Inside Out posted where you talked about you're singing into your phone on an airplane, making an idiot out of yourself. I mean, what was it that you connected with about that so deeply?
Well, I don't know, really. It just jumped out at me. Do you're ever reading a book and something just kind of jumps out at you, or you'll hear a song and one line will just kind of, it's almost like it connects with your heart. And I read it, and then I went, oh, that's interesting. I've turned a few pages, and she said it again in the book. And I thought, I'm not really sure if I've ever heard that before. I'm not sure what it means. But so I just started thinking about it, and then I started singing it to myself. And then I think even on the airplane, I saw that you could do it at the beginning of a piece and have it mean something kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like there's no hill for a climber. There's no possibility. There's no mountain for me to climb. There's no opportunity. And then you could flip that around at the end, say, with God, all things are possible, right? You can say, there's no mountain we can't climb. There's no, whatever it is, it's no hill for a climber. And I'm ready to do it.
I love the double meaning there. Yeah, the little double entendre. You don't get it right away, right? It's just like I don't quite get that, man. Who did the artwork, by the way? That I did not look up. Who did because the album cover's awesome on this thing.
Yeah. That's Thomas Averhart.
Is that Thomas?
Yeah.
I would have guessed, but I didn't want to make an idiot out of myself, like calling your new band Neal Morse in the Restoration or anything like that.
Doing album covers for me / us since the late 90s, actually. Yeah. I think the first one that he did for us was Day for Night. And so I always contact him. He used to be on staff at Inside Out. Now I think he's freelance.
Yeah.
Still, he's just one of those guys where so many times the first thing that he sends is a yes.
Yeah.
Which is really amazing. I mean, that just doesn't happen. That's not normal.
No. Well, he's not a normal guy. I mean, he Sola Scriptura. Come on, man. That's just like, to me, one of the greatest album covers of all time. And if I'm not mistaken, we just, we're going through our vinyl reissue series. Oh, I'm so happy that one finally came out on vinyl. Fantastic. Thank you for including King Jesus, one of the greatest songs ever written, on the vinyl version. Much appreciated. But if we go in order, man, two of the greatest records I've ever heard in my life are up next. That would be Question Mark and the aforementioned Sola Scriptura. Are we working on that? Is that something us vinyl junkies can look forward to over the next year or two?
Yeah. In fact, Question Mark, I think, should be here before the end of October. Yeah.
You just made me a very happy man, Neal. I knew they were coming, but I didn't have any idea of the timeline. So, wow.
Too. It makes me really happy. I'm a vinyl guy too, so it's great.
Yeah. And something else that I wanted to touch on, and you've been very busy doing a lot of different things, but the one thing that I wish you'd find more time for was musicians sitting down and having a cup of coffee with Neal Morse. I sure do miss that series. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Well, all of those, I'm pretty sure all of them are on my Waterfall app, by the way.
Yeah. You'll tell the people about Waterfall. Perfect timing. If they don't know about, because I hear it all the time. Neal Morse isn't on Spotify. There's only a couple things from Neal Morse on Spotify. And I always tell them, go to Waterfall and you will have more Neal Morse. Then you will know what to do. Tell the folks a little bit about your streaming service.
Yeah, well, I put it out there some years ago, 6 years ago now.
About that, I think. 5, 6.
To help me to create my own streaming service, because streaming is so great, but at my level, it doesn't really bring any compensation that's meaningful at all.
No.
And, so I decided to start my own because, I love streaming. It's so convenient. You can be on the mountaintop or at the beach. And if you've downloaded the thing, you can listen to music anywhere. It's so convenient, as you all know. But anyway, go to waterfallstreaming.com. You can sign up for my Waterfall app from the App Store. It's in the App Store. And then you can have like you know, all my frontline stuff, all my singer-songwriter stuff, all my worship stuff, all my talking stuff. And then also there's great other things on there, like Emerald City Council and Rick Altizer, Joey Favola, Eric Gillette's solo albums, Randy George's solo album, and We Came From Space.
Bill's incredible We Came From Space project. Yeah, that's a cool band there, right?
There's tons of that's a lot of music on there that'll keep you busy for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be busy the rest of your life at devouring Neal Morse material. And we're coming off of Late Bloomer being a Inner Circle release. That's getting a proper release, right? Is the vinyl in the pipeline for that, or is that out yet?
The vinyl's in. The vinyl, it came out. I think we need to advertise it more because you're the second person.
Yeah, I didn't know it. Yeah, I was kind of waiting for it to order it. I'm like, I need that vinyl, but I guess Neal will let us know when it's out.
Here, it's in the office, ready to ship.
Awesome. So get Late Bloomer on vinyl for the first time. It was available via the Waterfall streaming app, and just going through this album, Neal. I know we only got a couple more minutes, but I just want to impress on my people how good this record is. My regular viewers know how much I love Neal, and they know how much I love your music, so they know I'm not going to steer them the wrong way. But there's another song I wanted to talk about a little bit, and that is the first single, All the Rage. I mean, how much fun was that song? And it almost feels like that video really summed up the whole project, where you're sitting there with the guys like, what do we do now? I don't know, just roll the tape, see what happens. And was that kind of the way the sessions worked?
Well, that song I actually wrote apart from them and then brought it to the session, but we did track it in the room together.
Yeah.
And we took out the click track for a bunch of it, which is what gives it the kind of free flowing rock. It just has a real rock and fresh feeling about it, that song.
Yeah, it does.
And so it was cool that they were all willing to go along with, I would just say, hey, what if we do this? And then they were just like, yeah, sure. I guess.
You just mentioned click tracks, and listening to the album, there is absolutely no way you could have had click tracks for the title track with all those weird tempo changes and the way it slows down and speeds up. I mean, did you click that thing out? What a nightmare. How did you track that? Because that song is insane. I absolutely love it. The title track is 28 minutes and 50 seconds long for those of you like me that love the epic tracks, and it's worth every second of it. But you couldn't have used a click track on that, did you?
Well, we did for some of it, but we would, we'd play with a click until we didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't we take the click out and just play here? So there was parts where we just, the click track would go and then we just erase it and just play. I just, play to the drums. And then we come back in. We all agree. I think it'd be good to have a click through this part. It was just random. So the click stops, and then it goes, and then it stops. But I think the part you're thinking of is the Chris Riley's "Burn It Down."
It won't quit. It won't quit. No, it won't quit. I know that's got Chris Riley written all over it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's definitely him. And he really put that together. I think he programmed the click for that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's insane. All the speed, the whole tempo map was he did, just him and an acoustic guitar. He had the whole vision.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I couldn't have done that. That would have taken me like 3 years to lay that out, map that out. Just an incredible achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you had mentioned something. Is this like a top secret thing you got going on with Chester?
No, it's not a secret. It's also going to be on Inside Out.
Is it?
It's just going to come out next year. It's also has Phil Kagi on it, and Phil's singing on it as well. So you can hear Phil and I sing harmonies. And
wow.
Yeah, he was over here just 2 days this week. We were singing together, and it was great.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to come out probably in the spring of next year.
Oh, so nice. Because it's good to see Chester Thompson out. He just put out a solo album this past year on progrock.com Essentials. Then now we've got this new project, so that's exciting. We love to see our heroes doing stuff, and he was in the new Unitopia album, which was fantastic.
Right?
So he's been busy.
Yeah, he's great. It was so much fun being with him and playing music with him, and we did a lot of jamming in the room. He and Byron House is on bass, and those guys love to jam, and I hadn't really done that much, like in the way that we did, like just completely just free form jamming, and a lot of the album is pulled from those jams and developed from there. So it was really
that doesn't sound like a Neal Morse album at all. That doesn't sound like the way Neal puts together his albums one little bit. Before we go, I know you've got this thing called Morsefest, which is just like this huge, amazing get together. It's so big we couldn't just contain it on one continent, could we? It started in Tennessee. Now we do like 2 Morsefests. I'm confused. Tell the people what's going on with Morsefest.
Well, we're doing this year. It started off in 2014, I think, and we did Testimony in 1. I wish we would have kind of spread that out. I didn't know. We didn't know what it would become. It kind of took on a life of its own, and it's sort of it's part homecoming, part spiritual retreat, part music festival. I don't know. It's part family reunion. I don't know. It's become its own thing. But anyway, we're doing both Joseph albums with strings and horns, and Nick DiVirgilio on the drums and Eric Gillette on the drums. So Eric can come out and play guitar and go back, and Nick can come out and sing and go back. And it's going to be amazing.
Nice.
Ted Leonard from Spock's Beard and Ross Jennings from Haken are going to be here singing different roles in the Joseph albums. And and also we're doing Jesus Christ the Exorcist excerpts from that, and then also the trio, the DiVirgilio, Morse, and Jennings, Crosby, Stills and Nash sort of thing.
That's right. We got 2 albums worth of material to go through on that front too.
Yeah. For the first time, we're gonna do
that's right, because you guys kind of sang together when you got together for like a couple hours or at your house, but you never like actually played a show together.
No, this is the first time.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's very exciting.
Yeah. And live stream it. We just put a live stream on sale, and because the USA one's sold out, but the Netherlands and the London shows are not. And so come on out. It's going to be amazing.
Wow, it's an international event of hope and love and great music. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Neal Morse has been my guest, and we're talking about the brand new album that's coming out on Inside Out Music, November 8th. It's called No Hill for a Climber. I'm going to get the name of the band right this time. It's Neal Morse and the Residents, and you guys sound great on this album. You found some real good players, man. Just amazing. Congratulations on a fantastic album. I'll be reviewing it probably a little closer to review date. You know how that goes.
Yeah, sure.
Plus, I don't just review albums, Neal. I get under the hood. I kick the tires. I want to know every chord change. I want to know every time signature. I want to know every single thing that's going on before I do a review. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. One of the best things I've heard all year for sure.
Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Neal. Thank you for joining us. Again, Neal Morse, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, it was a real pleasure, a real privilege. But I don't know if you heard about this, Neal. We got some things going on in the world. So peace in the Middle East. Absolutely. Free the Ukraine, free Tibet, free Willie, free your mind. And again, Neal, I don't know if you heard, but King Charles III, he's not been feeling so good. So I say bring that boy to America. Oh, yeah, bring him to America where we got all the good doctors and the good pastor. And we're going to do thoughts and prayers. Oh, yeah, we're going to do spells and incantations. But you know what's going to work? Oh, yeah, the armor of God's going to work. Oh, absolutely. These snakes aren't going to get me, Neal. Oh, no, I got the armor of God on me. Absolutely, I do. Oh, they're not going to get me. Absolutely. King Chucky, you're going to be just fine. I love you. Peace.